people in your wokeness. I was happy, and then I decided to read and I found out. No, dude, I disagree completely. I don't think opportunity hits us the same way. People don't know how expensive it is to be poor. They made it for themselves, and you just happen to be the person that's there right now who gets to have that experience.
And that is also how they feel in Iran about racism. Are there racial things? Yes. But is that the biggest problem facing our country? You're listening to the Baascast. Yeah, it is better than it sounds.
Put your beer away.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm always ready to rock and roll, my good sir. Technically, a 2% is counted as a beer. Do you know in Russia, before the World Cup, they had to amend the laws?
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite cases of sports washing. The way that they had to amend the laws is in Russia, anything below 12% is not considered alcohol. A kid can walk into the counter, I'm not joking, a kid could walk in over the counter at 9, 10 years old, buy themselves a 6-pack of beer with no issues whatsoever.
That explains a lot of Russian YouTubers.
Vitali. Not that I know the guy personally, but from what I've seen, if we're going to be honest about it.
And a crazy Russian hacker.
Oh, God, I love his stuff. I love that.
Did you see during the war he changed his name online? I thought he disappeared. I was fucking worried about the guy. I mean, I actually like his channel. And then I saw him pop up under another name. And now, a week or 2, 3 ago, I saw he was back as Crazy Russian Hacker. Now he's officially got the nice YouTubes and stuff because it's pretty cool.
Because Russia's winning. I have no idea.
I lost track.
Can I be honest? The only thing I'm trying to watch right now is rugby, which is my favorite form of organized xenophobia. For 90 minutes, we're allowed to beat up other people as much as we want. And the fact that there's a ball and a couple of rules and a referee and they stop it when there's too much blood, beautiful.
You know what? That's what every war actually needs. It's like a ref. Because I've always wondered, how do you actually determine who wins a war? Because do you just stop when there's no one left? Do you stop when no one wins a war, someone resigns a war.
It's true, but it depends also what's the war. If we're talking about the war on drugs, drugs won that war. They won so hard, it's kind of crazy. If I was anybody, I would ask drugs, what were your tips? How did you do it? Forget the art of war. Let's see how drugs does something.
Interesting thought. The dogs in the background are...
They've only started now. And you
they
realize
were quiet the whole night.
We've had nothing but absolute quiet.
I even asked you, do you even have a dog here or something? Because there's nothing. And
the only dog is here. Woo, 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 woo.
Oh, you know what? I think someone's leaving. I'm just...
How?
This is an undisclosed location, as yet to be named. It's one of my friend's place and we're filming at his house. And I'm not going to say it's where I used to live, but moet of do it. There's only one thing like moet dogs, and it's moet honde, bro. Oh, by the way, I should probably start by introducing you and shit.
That's a good place to start, at the beginning. Hello, world of the internet. My name is on his t-shirt because shameless self-promotion is the most important thing when you have to try to get out there.
The one bad thing about being a professional comedian is sometimes you forget that a podcast is actually audio based. So about 23% of everyone listening to this podcast will not be watching it.
All right, so for those 23% of people, how you doing? It's Daddy Delicious, Mr. So Viciously Nutritious. It's kind of malicious. My name's Nqoba. Pleased to meet you. Everybody calls me the king.
Well, not everybody. I refuse because I practiced really hard to call you by your freaking real name. Because once I had to introduce you on stage, and you know what, saying Ngcobo, I still fail sometimes, but I'm getting Ngcobo.
100%.
See?
Can I tell you?
Ngcobo.
Ngcobo.
The N. Ngcobo.
Ngcobo. There you go.
So you're the second guest that I have to have a linguistics lesson in to introduce them. Previous one was my friend Stephen Kulu. And see, Steve, if you're watching, I got it right this time.
Way to go, Stevie. And I love Stevie, dude. Stevie's so much fun.
Cool.
Can I tell you, he's genuinely amazing. And one of my biggest things with Steve is he's so wonderful in every single way. It makes them seem too good to be true. And that's why when people ask me, how are you? I'm always like, I'm too good to be true. Because that's how I believe Steve to be.
Right. I had a discussion with him and I said, you know what? I was lauding him about being this clean, pure, energetic ball of love, joy, passion, and unicorns and shit. Until he said, you know what, I do a lot of family-friendly events, but I also can, do a rough gig in a bar. I just happened to have only seen him at family
She
friendly things.
Willikers. Holy cow, Steve Ngcobo. You can mix it up. You can get gully, my friend. Can I be honest with you? I love dive bars. Like, that used to be my kick. Because there's something wonderful about drinking in a dingy place. Because dingy places usually have good people. And the most beautiful places have the most horrible people. If you do not believe me, look at Parliament. And in that context,
Dude, Parliament is so beautiful, dude.
which one? The one that the
I don't know,
kids
as you
shut
mentioned,
down.
you know, Parliament being more beautiful, the worse the people. Anyway, did we just get our first challenge in the podcast? Listen, Stephen Ngcobo, we challenge you to go out drinking with myself and the king.
Done deal, dude. Done deal. You know, can I tell you an even better one?
Yeah.
And nobody's going to believe me, but I swear on everything I own, this is true. Do you know this guy? I think his name is, he dresses in my favorite color, by the way, black. And his name is Joe, like Joe Massa, Joe whatever, Joe Black, yeah. So anyway, this guy owes me a trip to play golf absolutely anywhere I want in the world, because I got the audience to sing along to his songs and love him so much. And Joe, I just want you to know from that gig, I'm a man of my word. I do absolutely everything I say I'm going to do. And I hope that you're a man of your word too.
Wait, are we actually talking about Joe Black
Yeah, Joe Black.
or Jack Black?
Joe Black.
Because if it was Jack Black,
Oh, come on, dude. Can I
Well,
tell
Joe
you, hold
Black,
on,
you're
wait.
cool, but
Yo,
Jack Black is-
Jack Black, okay, Joe Black. Jack Black, if you're watching, wherever you are in the universe, the deal stands. You're more than welcome to play that round of golf with us. And then afterwards, I'll also take you on the drinking and laughing spree that you've never had in your entire life. Just make sure it's not during my 1-year sobriety breaks.
are you currently on a sobriety?
Yeah, I'm on an abstinence binge, which freaking hurts. Yeah, dude. Do you know how hard it is being like Gauteng's least eligible bachelor? Somebody's got to hold down the bottom for everybody. And in that sort of circumstances, it's nice to know exactly where the bottom rung is,
Yeah.
because you have to get on the ladder somewhere. And when you go on one of those, I'm taking a break from everything, it really refreshes you because it clears you, bro. And there's a lot of negative energy that comes from dealing with other people.
But, I mean, firstly, obviously, I have to point out that just because you're an ineligible bachelor does not mean that girls stop drinking as well. So there's hope. Don't worry.
My friend, I don't think there's enough Freestad cappuccinos in the universe to make somebody go, wait a minute, that guy right there, that's the one.
Dude, I actually think that we accidentally started a podcast. So I'm just going to go with it right now and say, hey, this is Nqoba. He's a comedian, just in case you have no idea. What are you more, a host, a comedian, an MC? What do you prefer being labeled as?
I
Don't
hate
say
being-
king. We know that.
Yeah. I'm royalty, so double blood kick. No, honestly, I just like to be a working individual because I get to work on a whole lot of different projects, and not just strictly in above the line like entertainment sort of stuff. Also, a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of creative work, and in whatever space I'm in, I love the fact that I'm able to contribute and to create and turn ideas into successful projects, and to watch those successful projects titillate, educate, and scintillate everybody out there really brings glow to my heart. So if anybody's got some incredible work to be done, let's talk, let's do it.
What he said for me too. Oh, wait.
No, so I do MC. I've MC'd for casinos for the last 15 years. I've given away more money than bank robberies. I've given away more money than government corruption. I've given away more cars than hijacking. And I love it so much because there's nothing more glorifying than watching somebody win.
At Park Acoustics.
Nah, that's just for the casinos. Park Acoustics, the music festivals. I've done parks. I've done Old Mutual Music in the Garden series. I've done like a whole bunch.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I can't keep a
forgot about
straight
that.
face to
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You got to know this, and this was how I knew that. Firstly, I have to mention as you go on, we'll still get to the rest of your resume, right? But we are the living embodiment of the new South Africa.
Because I took his job. I took her job.
I emceed Park Acoustics. Well, before that, I emceed Old Mutual Music in the Gardens for like 2 years, I think, both Pretoria and Joburg. And then after one particular more mainstream show, they realized they can't be booking this color of cappuccino at an event at the Joburg one. So I did one or two more at the Pretoria one, and then they realized you're cooler.
Oh, no, first
So
of
when
all,
the season ended, they took you in on the new season. And then Park Acoustics I emceed for, I think, about a year and a half. Year, but it started accidentally because the MC didn't pitch for the day, and they knew that I could. And then Neil still called me, "Hey, come MC, please." Fine, I'll do that. Then did that for like a while, and then what's next? Nqoba. So if you know of any good MC gigs that they don't, necessarily know Nqoba yet,
that I'm not available for, interested in.
I mean, I'm not saying that you're a better MC than me, but what I'm saying is that I thoroughly enjoy the fact that we've got a kindred spirit when it comes to the stage. Because I've seen MCs that, you know that you can see an MC when they treat a festival like it's a job. You know, they stand with a brief card.
God, it's so bad.
I'm not judging you. Everyone starts somewhere, but I mean, if you do Park Acoustics, you see a music festival enjoyer on stage enjoying the experience from the stage's side. Because trust me, bro, it is a different type of enjoyment to experience the festival the same as everyone else just from the stage. And you look like it. You know, it doesn't look like you are suffering through the day.
I know I try as much as possible with anything I do, but see, the thing is, if I'm going to be honest about it, my big kick in terms of any work that I do is I love to do the research behind it. I love to make sure I know the bands, I know their songs, I know the product, I know the history of the company, I know the facts about the thing. I know that the HR department has fired more people than any other company ever. Hence, they're not the HR that hire and retire. Like,
Not Park Acoustics.
no, but like
Sorry,
absolutely anywhere. Like, anything that I've got to do, whether it's comedy gigs, whether it's writing for companies, whether it's advertising work, doing advertising, company copy for everything, whatever it is, I love the research because the research is boring. The research is horrible. Like one of my absolute favorites, Jameson. Jameson, beautiful brand, fantastic stuff. I love drinking Jameson. It used to be one of my all-time favorite bottles of whiskey. And then I read the story that the Jameson company tried to cover up about how one of the founders was touring through Africa, bought a child, and literally paid to watch the child, I think it was eaten alive by cannibals while tied to a stick. And he sketched all the different stages of this child being eaten by the cannibals. And
Alive?
Yeah.
Or like dead?
Alive.
But, I mean, not that it makes a difference.
But
Just by the way, this entire
beautiful thing
podcast
is
has got
apparently-
demonetized.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about the story is apparently the kid didn't scream once.
How did we end up at this point of a conversation?
No, but like you wouldn't get there without the research. Like,
yes.
the
Sorry,
research the research always helps you to find things. Like, I'll give you another one. There's this law company that I had to do a gig for.
But no. What did it get? Why did you do the research?
For Jameson? Because I had to do something.
But what did you do with that knowledge then?
Can I tell you? I stopped drinking Jameson. That was the first thing. And I probably will never be able to drink a bottle again because of, damn all you woke people in your wokeness. I was happy. And then I decided to read and I found out.
So, tell me, Park Acoustics.
I love music. And I've always been a lover of live South African music. And if I have to go back to it, like from being way, way young and sneaking out to watch a To Me in the Volume perform at Things and Times inside Pretoria. You know, like those moments that you know, this is something I'm going to remember forever. And I'm going to take this moment with me forever. There's another one I'll never ever forget. It was Bongiziwe Mabandla, who's one of my all-time faves, bro. That dude, I remember I bought his music once. My mom heard it in the car and she stole the CD from me. Like, it's just so beautifully wonderful. And I even have an ex that I can't listen to his music because she turned one of our songs into one of our songs, his into ours, and in the process ruined the whole album. But anyway.
It's sad when that happens.
Things in Times, live music, Bongiziwe Mabandla, beautiful night. It was a Levi's session, hadn't blown up yet. And I love to see an artist when they are an artist. And if you're going to be honest about it, with music, the radio and the studio recording is amazing, because you get to be as orchestral or as musical or as precise as you'd like to be. But what somebody can do live in the moment is the essence of who they truly are as a being. And whether it's just you and your guitar, you and your drum, your voice, and that speaker, that's all you've got in that moment. And live music always always gives you the opportunity to see that in its ultimate effect as far as music is concerned. And with Park Acoustics, I got to experience so much of that and to meet so many great people in the music business. Like I remember there was another gentleman who I met at Park Acoustics who was there mentoring some other young band. And he introduced me to Ladysmith Black Mambazo, where I got to MC them. And as a child, because I grew up in Canada for a little bit, my dad used to play Ladysmith Black Mambazo in the car. And when I think that after he'd passed, I got to MC one of their concerts, take photos with them. I still have the signed CD. And now when I play it, that memory's with me forever. But it's that same aspect. It's the beauty of the gifts that our South African artists have to offer, and also how painfully underappreciated they are.
That is firstly beautiful and so true, dude. And experiencing that on a stage like Park Acoustics for the last, how many years now?
11, 12 years maybe. But like, that's what I like. I like consistency. Like if people know that you're going to rock up on time, you're going to do the good job, you're going to make sure that you can do whatever it is that you're contracted to do. That skill, I don't think a lot of artists realize how important it is, because it's one thing to be glamorous and to be famous and to have fantastic social media and to make sure everybody knows your name, right? But it's also a completely beautiful thing that when people know when they've booked you, your name's on the poster, if you've organized the event in any circumstance, it's going to be you, it's going to be professional, and it's going to be great.
Now, speaking of name on the poster, that is one thing that did strike me as interesting. It is not often that you will see an actual music festival promote the MC as one of the main features of the event.
Oh, come on, guy! Like,
No,
dude,
no, you
how
make
many
the
comedy
exception to the rule.
how many Comedy Central specials have I done? How many TV shows have I written? How many movies do I have? Like, I am not just an individual. If I'm adding to people's enjoyment of the day and I'm a part of that process, then the most important thing is at least let me get a little bit of credit for that. Because let's be 100% honest about it. If you can't grow yourself, your brand, and your footprint, and you're doing a fantastic job at what it is that you're doing, then how are you going to continue to grow yourself? Are you going to be stuck in that position forever? Then anybody could be in that position, or anybody could do what it is that I'm doing. But the reality is only I could do what it is that I do. And if that's the case, then then at least I should get the recognition that only I deserve for doing the work that only I have done.
That is true, but I've got a much shorter answer as to why that happens.
Why?
I believe if you add value, you go to the poster.
Straight up.
Yep.
So you go from and many more to...
Put it this way, that, again, not to, toot your horn or do anything else with your horn, but to me, there's, again, a big difference between a live event MC that is an announcer of the freaking schedule versus a person, as I said, that adds value. What do you think is the secret of the value that you add? Why are you a value-adding MC versus another good MC that might crack a joke and announce the right bands and stuff? What is the value that Ngcobo brings to the Park Acoustics stage?
100% unbridled joy, guy. I'm a walking ball of pure sunshine, my friend. Rainbows dipped in chocolate, that is me. And if you bring that energy to any circumstance, like I remember I had a gig this week for some huge insurance company. I won't name their name, but they're purple. And that purple one, I had a gig where I was literally hugging people for a week long. And it got so out of control that people would get excited about coming to work to hug, high five, do jokes, and dance with me. Because I bring joy into any situation. And the only way that you can truly bring joy into any situation is to be a part of that experience. Like in that Eckhart Tolle context, if you can't seize the now, right? And the now means both parts. The preparation when you're sitting and listening to some band you've never known, going through the social media, finding out their links and all that sort of stuff, and then talking to them backstage to find out what they're about, so that when you're talking to other people, that you're relaying that correct sort of message. But also the immediate things of, can we get a laugh out of it? Could we introduce a couple? Like, dude, I think I've got, in the last 10 years, I've got 3 Park Acoustics couples and 2 Park Acoustics babies. Like, you know, when we're messing around in between, like maybe something's going on, we've got a technical glitch.
Yeah.
Here's a mic, go have some fun. grab a couple, get a kiss, do a dating show, whatever, a tequila competition, whatever happens on the moment there. And in that moment, that lasting connection stays. And those people carry it with them forever. And I don't know whose code it is, but that idea is always the same. People can remember what they say, but they never forget how you made them feel. And anybody who interacts with me will never forget how I make them feel.
If you had to pick one or two of your favorite moments, Park Acoustics wise, not necessarily the bands, we'll get to that now, but Park Acoustics moments, what would be your favorite, or first one to come to mind?
All right, day I was late, completely messed it up, traffic messed me up, every horrible day's happened to anybody. The day I was late, Christo was there early, and he emceed for me that day. And because I was late, they wouldn't let me MC for the rest of the day. And I ended up with a bottle of Jack Daniels and a whole bunch of freedom on my hands. And I got to experience Park Acoustics as a guest and not as an MC. And that experience of getting to experience it as a guest reminds you like how much fun you can truly have when it's done right.
That is so true, dude. When I stopped MCing, and before I did, you know, it was just so great to just do Parks. Now, let's jump into the music side. Favorite act that you saw at Parks for the first time?
Shameless, oh God. Okay, so Shameless, without a doubt, South African rock and roll band. Beautiful.
From Soweto, right?
Yeah, 100% from Soweto. Oh God, those guys are so nice. They're so like, listen to me. So I listen to everything. I'm the same guy who's going to love Bongiziwe Mabandla. I'm the same guy who's going to be out there chilling at your favorite Amapiano kit, pretending like I'm not old. And I'm the same guy that's also going to be like, wow, those guys are serious, they're great, and they're wonderful. Like, I remember I was doing the Drumbeat Music Festival at Soweto Theatre. And I was standing backstage, and it was on the same night, for the very first time, I heard these two bands live. I heard The Soil, and I heard BCUC, Bantu Continua Uhuru Consciousness. And both of those bands, hearing them the first time live, bonds you to them in such a way that you could never be without their music. And you carry it with you forever, because photos mark specific moments, but music marks specific periods in your life. And that's one of the things I love about it, because that album takes you back to that specific time, that specific place.
A song can really speak to you, and there's songs that if I listen to them, I can literally smell the book that I was busy reading when I listen, you know.
I forgot one. There was another Park Acoustics, Mango Groove, It Rained. My daughter had chicken pox. Do you remember that one? I had to bring a tent outside for my kid who wasn't supposed to be there, because I remember she had chicken pox. She got the whole week off of school. And we go to see the doctor here at the Moort Hospital, right? And when we're at the Moort Hospital, the doctor says, Nqoba. And I'm like, how do you know me, Dr. Greenlaw? And she's like, blah, 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 blah. She's like, don't worry, you'll be fine. Here are the Crips, here are the medicine. Here. Listen, do you have tickets for Sunday by any chance? And I'm like, are you kidding me? A whole medical professional is going to be doing this to me in this specific... I'm like, of course, doctor, for you. Without, because my whole thing is I love to help as much as I possibly can, wherever I can, as long as it doesn't hurt me. And so I organize her the tickets. And then get the awning, put my kid in the shade. She's dancing. She has a great time with Mango Groove backstage, which is still one of those truly incredible South African iconic bands.
And if Mango Groove got chicken pox, it's his daughter's fault.
Yeah, thank you. 100% true. I did it. I gave Mango Groove the pox. Mango Groove pox. Doesn't that sound like a tropical STD?
I thought it was like a new drink flavor.
Maybe. But back to the main point. So when we get there, I remember singing along and having a great time. And I remember my daughter bumping into the doctor, also who was there having a great time. And then I remember it started to rain. You remember that rain for that concert? It was literally as they were hitting the top of Shining Star. That thunder came through blacker than every car I've wanted to buy for the rest of my life. And the heavens just opened.
So I'm literally getting, like emotional goosebumps here. Yes, man. I'm sad that they don't have Park Acoustics as regular anymore. But you know what? You understand. And the one thing that I'll never take away from them ever is the fact that they have shaped and changed and remodeled and made better the entire face of music in Pretoria and probably South Africa.
They opened it up, bruh. They gave us new bands, new acts. They gave other people a chance. Do you know I saw Moonchild Sinelli at Park Acoustics, bro?
Even
Remember?
me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
She's
there
the
was this
weird
song,
one.
Yeah, dude. I love that woman, bro. Because remember we interviewed her for this other TV show I used to work on Backstage, where I was head writer for a period of over 10 years, where I gave you scintillating commentary and incredible in-depth insights, doused with tons of humor from behind the scenes. And I remember when she was at Park Acoustics, the song that was trending was called Kata. And it was a great song. We used to hear it on Metro FM sometimes in the morning, and it became me and my daughter's jam. So when I saw her at Parks, I'm like, there's no way. I wouldn't expect to see someone like that at a festival like this, on a day like this. Because when you get those experiences, it's like, wow, it's the music that brings us together, not the music that drives us apart.
I like that, especially in the current political climate. You know, there's a big thing about music, and I don't like it when people use music for negativity and to drive people apart.
Oh, come on, dude. Kiss the boar. Kiss the farmer. What's wrong with you? Like, all it needs is
I was
just
thinking
like,
Steve Hofmeyr.
Tyler, I see you. I need you to do what you did to Mnike, or M. Nike, as they say in the UK, and do that, and just like that, we'll cross over. I love every side of the city. It's such a beautiful city, but it's also got such a painful history. Like, when I think about speaking to all the struggle heroes and all the people and the stuff that I've read in the history books, and you know, like, black kids were killed here. Not like slapped or beat around, like literally hung and freaking murdered. This was seen as like the shining diamond of work done inside the Transvaal, right? That this was the epitome. And to think that, I think it's like the same issue that I have with Hennessy. Like, I love Hennessy. Hennessy is a fantastic drink. You don't get drunk, you get happy and bubbly. And in the process of drinking it, you realize that the reason it's so amazing is because they did not make it for you. They'd never imagined that you'd be the person who'd be enjoying it. They made it for themselves, and you just happen to be the person that's there right now who gets to have that experience.
And that is also how they feel in Oranje about racism.
Oh, goodness, dude. I need to go visit Oranje for the day. And I
I
need to
actually
get
want
some
to
of their
go.
money. You're like, I'm being dead ass.
I've never been. Honestly, I've heard fun things.
Dude, I just want to go walk away with some of that Oranje money.
Yeah.
And then
Or an Oranje honey.
no, not even, dude. I've heard the stories, dude. Apparently, if you do a line with an Oranje bill, before it hits your nose, it's chalk. I'm joking. I wouldn't joke. First of all, I do not condone drug use. That was just a joke for comedy's sake. If you roll a blunt with an Oranje bill, it won't light. Because there's nothing lit about Oranje. There is that. Are we still? No, I need to tone it back. Damn it! Cut. Oh, this is going to be so bad.
What do you
on
want
the
to tone
reels.
back?
No, man. No, the thing is, I don't preach hate in any way, shape, or form. And I hate to focus on negativity because it doesn't build us as
But I mean,
human
a joke's a
beings.
joke.
A joke
Surely
is a
you're a
joke.
comedian. People know that when you make a joke, it's a joke.
But the thing about a joke also is all jokes can be misconstrued, jokes can be misunderstood, jokes can be malicious. And the best thing about a great joke is if it's honest, if it's true, if it cuts to the bone. Like, I'll give you an example, right? So one of the things which I've got in my new comedy special, which is coming out soon. So please follow me at Ngcobo, please, shameless plug, at Ngcobo on Gmail, and Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter.
Follow him on Gmail.
On Twitch, yeah. Follow me on Gmail. I'm that old, yeah. So
back to the point.
yeah, so back to the point.
Before you switched into
In South
advert mode.
Africa, in South Africa, we have a very divided society. I mean, if you can see the richest dude in the world, Elon Musk, or the richest dude that we know about, because those Saudi boys, I love you guys. Please hire me for the Saudi Pro League. I will be the world's best water boy. I swear to God, that is my dream job, to be a water boy for Al Hilal. I can give anybody. Christo, would you like some water? Right there. I just earned 12 million freaking rand a month. Do you see that? No. So back to the main point. South Africa, we're so divided. You know, situations like, what was it? They're in the Free State at the pool. What was it called?
Oh, where the dudes, not
Drowning
wanting
the
to
black
swim with the
kids.
kids.
Yeah. What was that place? Marcelsport. And Marcelsport breaks my heart. Because first of all, I love to see you white guys in water because I know you avoid it as much as you possibly can.
I love water.
Do you?
I enjoy swimming.
Do you?
Yeah.
How come we've never gone swimming together
The
then?
stereotype is black people don't like it.
Okay, cool. So
The stereotype
see,
is we
even
like
better.
it.
So look at Marcelsport. It's black people, white people not even being able to get along, right? And then you've got Vicky Momgrug and the racist comments, or Adam Katsavalos on the beach, right? And then you're like, why is there so much hatred between us, right? Because in South Africa, you see it. But outside of South Africa, we shine for the opposite reasons. For example, if you look at the last Olympics, right? We had this boy, Luvuyo Munyonga, who was the world junior long jump champion. And Luvuyo made so much money at the World Championships that when he came back to South Africa, he became a Nyaupe addict. This guy would get high and pass out in the freaking dirt, right? And then he cleaned up his life and he went to the Olympics, but he got himself a silver medal and he cleaned up his life to an extent, a beautiful degree. Then you had Sunette Viljoen, who was a great example as well, because Sunette Viljoen won a silver medal for the javelin, right? And when Sunette Viljoen won it, that's the only white woman that Shaka Zulu would look at and go, yeah, yabona le inkosikazi, she can hold my spear anytime, yabona le. And then on top of that, right, you had Wade Van Kirk, which is one of the most beautiful stories ever, where you have a colored guy who is so fast, bro. Like he broke 3 records. He was the first person to run the 100 under 10, the 200 under 20, and the 400 in a world record time. Like that's how fast he was. And usually when a gun goes off, what I know about South Africa, it's not a colored person running away, and it made Wade's story like so wonderful. And then you look at like Trevor Noah, who's just like literally sold out all over the world, putting South Africa on a map in a way you can't even imagine. And Trevor Noah is like that perfect example of how far we are from Marcelsport, because in Marcelsport, we can't even swim in the same swimming pool. And then with Trevor Noah, we're shining as a nation because we're all swimming in the same gene pool.
I hear what you're saying, but there's one bit that I vehemently disagree with or don't like about what you said. I don't believe in the we in that sentence.
We?
For a couple of reasons, like, you know what, we can't swim together or some shit. I believe it is the outliers, the cunts, the bastards, the honest to God, the furthest removed from the center of the society that don't get along anymore. I think, and I've said this in a podcast before with Zebra, that the average South African person, doesn't matter the color of the skin or shit, what do they want to do? They want to earn a decent, living. They want to get home, eat something nice, fuck something beautiful, and hopefully, I don't know, enjoy themselves for some bit. Tomorrow they get to do that again, be happy and fulfilled in their living. That's all that the average person wants.
Yo, but dude, like how far we...
The weird shitty part is the one that says, I don't want to swim with you, I don't like you.
Yeah, but like
well,
how far are we that, dude? Like we live in the most unequal society on the entire planet. And the reason it's unequal is because of the pay gap. And the pay gap has been perpetuated not because of present day circumstances. And it's something that has been passed down from generation to generation. And that's whether it's small little things where they'll say, okay, it's our family, we can pay somebody like this, but it's an outsider and we pay them like that. And we can even see it with bigger things. Well, you look at a lawnman situation where your government is turning their own guns against its own people in a dispute that involves money and protecting people's money. And what we did in South Africa as a society, we moved from oppressing people to oppressing a class of individuals. And that class of individuals is anybody who's fighting for fairness or freedom. Look at it, dude. We're a country of 55 million people. And according to SARS, our tax base is like 7.5, 8 million people. Dude, we're a grand state. You can't have 7.5 million people supporting like 46, 48 million people. It does not make sense. So it's either somebody's hiding money, somebody's not honest about money, or people are not declaring the money because we can't have the mineral deposits we have, the riches that we have, the gold and the diamonds that we have, and still be the oil deposits that we have. And still be in a situation where there's not enough money for everybody to go around. We struggle to build hospitals, to build schools, to fix roads, to take care of potholes. Like, are you kidding me? For me, my biggest thing is opportunity, right? And if I'm trying to give opportunity to the next generation, right? Opportunity comes when you're sick and you're able to get the healing that you need at a decent price, because healthcare is a backbone of a functioning society. When you've got good schools to educate the kids so that you're raising a generation that's literally able to carry on the chalice. Because when we fought for freedom, the idea wasn't we're fighting for the opportunity to be free. No, we're fighting for the joys that come with freedom. But the thing about freedom is the fight doesn't end. We always have to fight for greater freedoms and greater controls.
How would you say this directly affects you as an individual versus you know, like it's very easy to say that
Oh, like the
we
big
are still
church.
living
Yeah,
in an
yeah, yeah,
oppressive
yeah, yeah,
nation
blah,
and
blah,
stuff,
blah.
but in the end, from my perspective, just if I can put you more the example of what I'm looking at getting at from you now is your experience of this. I work for my money. I have never been granted any favors in my industry as far as I'm aware of because of, you know, color of my skin or something. I have obviously had some benefits, I think, growing up, but coming from a point of view that most of the people that I know currently, regardless of, you know, race, creed, color, upbringing or anything, by the age that you reach over 35, by now everyone's made their own path.
No, dude, I disagree completely. I don't think opportunity hits us the same way. People like don't know how expensive it is to be poor, like straight up. If you tell me that, okay, cool, we've got a job. Like I remember there was this famous company that provides satellite services in South Africa that runs one of the biggest film schools in South Africa. And I remember I had to do a gig for them. And one of the directors was busy speaking about how they'd finished their film school internship and now they've got to go work for a week at a client that they've given to them, right? And he was talking about how when he was going through that experience and entering the industry, he, for his first job, he had to pull himself up by the scruff of his teeth, and his aunt lent him a car so that he could be able to get to some place to get him to do things. And I remember speaking to one of the kids afterwards, and I asked him, "You're going to be working in Muldersdrift. How are you getting there?" And he told me, "Dude, I've talk to somebody at the company and I'm going to be sharing their shack with them for the week just so that I can get there because I don't have transport money to be going up and down. Stipend doesn't cover this because my family already needs the stipend. And just that opportunity for me cost me more than it would for you to have that car to get up and down. And those things aren't systematic. They don't disappear when you turn 25 or you turn 30 or you turn 50 or you turn 100. Those are realities you're always going to have to deal with. And I think if we're being honest about it, the cost of poverty, right, or uplifting people out of poverty is our society has to be structured in such a way that everybody has access to opportunity. And giving everybody access to opportunity is next to impossible because there are so many barriers before somebody can get to that opportunity. And I love this place with all my heart. I don't want to go anywhere else, dude. I want to have a beautiful house in Mhlanga or Richards Bay or Bellito. I want to have another one in Nahoon or Kunube in the Eastern Cape or Kai River mouth on a mountaintop. And then just another one in Cape Town there by Fresnay or one of the beaches.
You know,
Camps
it's cheaper
Bay.
to travel there, just visit. You don't have to buy a house everywhere.
No. I need houses everywhere. The way I see it, right? Listen to me, and I need to be honest about this. Whoever hooked up Terry Petto with that stupid lotto money, I will not spill. Nobody will ever know. I am not famous enough to get to get into the public eye or into the papers. Give me that lotto money, and I'll gladly invest it in properties that'll be well kept.
So
And
you
I'll be able
love South
to-
Africa. What's the biggest but that you can put after that?
Honestly. But we're going to be facing the hardest times we've ever faced. And if we're going to be serious about it, right, dude, petrol's going through the roof again. Our cost of living, our inflation is just mad. When I think about even just a simple item like a tin of jam or a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread's $22 now, dude. It's $18 maybe if you're lucky or you get it to $16 at the shops. Now, the average South African minimum wage in South Africa is 3,500 rand a month, right? Or it's 23 rand 24 cents an hour, right? Which puts average minimum wage at about like, I don't know, 3,470 rand a month, right? You take away, that's not living in an apartment by yourself. That's not enough for you to
How
afford
does
a
one
car.
survive of that, basically?
Exactly, you can't. Even if you look at the median salary, when they took the median salary for workers in Gauteng, I think it was at 7,500 rand a month, right? Which is double already the minimum wage in South Africa, which shows you how far what the people actually need who are earning at the bottom versus what it takes, right? And then you'll read a story like right now, if I'm not mistaken, in the city of Tshwane, we're 2 months we've officially been on strike, right?
Yeah.
No rubbish services, Hammanskraal without water, and we're still going to have more water issues coming down the pipeline. A call center agent in the city of Tshwane makes 23,000 rand a month. Do you know that? 23,000 rand a month. And if I'm not mistaken, in the same city of Tshwane, city of Pretoria, city of Tshwane. It's Outsurance, where the minimum entering salary for a call center agents like 13,000 rand a month, and Momentum, where it's like 14,000 rand a month.
Yeah.
And they're striking.
Dude, I think it's exceptionally selfish and they should all be criminalized. But what is the solution then? I mean, look, I think both of us can agree that it is no longer a black versus white thing.
Dude, we want services. We want
No, I'm talking in our country in general. It's
Corruption,
assholes
ideology,
versus non-assholes. It is corrupt people versus non-corrupt. Are there racial things? Yes. Do we face problems caused by race? Yes. But is that the biggest problem facing our country?
No, dude, it's freaking inequality.
Inequality
is our biggest issue.
And how do we fix that?
Honestly.
Yeah.
Let's tell the truth.
Fix it in a minute.
1 minute. One day, the poor will have nothing left to eat but the rich.
And that is a day that I think everyone that misuses their power should fear.
Like, if you think about it, like, if we're going to be honest about it, sure, if schools don't work, yeah, sooner or later, we're not going to go burn down the school. We're going to go burn down a ministerial residence. Do you know what they did with load shedding in Ireland the first time it kicked off? The people protested, and they burnt down the power department. The power department relocated, got offshore plans, and reorganized themselves and made sure there was no more
not the
load
power
shedding.
plant, the power department.
The
like
power
in the
department,
building.
yeah.
See, that makes much more sense.
Exactly, like the same way if I didn't have sanitation services, I would gladly leave. You saw what happened in Venezuela? I think it was Venezuela, where they gave the excrement. They were all saving their excrement and their feces to go give to the parliamentary buildings.
Yes.
And I think that's where we're at now.
But people should direct it better. Like, don't burn the train because you're cutting off your own throat. You know, go and protest at the place that makes you mad, not the, actually does you disservice.
Like Richards Bay is one of the one that kills me right now. If I'm not mistaken, Richards Bay is blacker than all the women I've loved in my entire life.
But there's no power.
It's the coal. Remember, we've got coal up in Mpumalanga, and the Richards Bay is the coal terminal. And if I'm not mistaken, the train line isn't running between them. So the trucks are lined up literally for days just trying to get inside that coal terminal. And because the trucks are lined up for days outside Richards Bay, there's a whole lot of coal and ash in the city where it's literally covered by a thick dust. And I love Richards Bay and Pangeni. For me, the North Coast is some of the most gloriously beautiful country that we have, right? And now that town, just because of a not working rail service and trucks lining up to get into the port, where we're selling off a whole bunch of our best coal to developed countries, but that's another story for another day. That town is literally covered in coal. And I used to think, like, with my first love, she was working in Mpangeni. And once or twice a month, I'd fly down to Richards Bay Airport and we'd like book a house and be there. Right. And I thought, this is one of those places I'd love to live. And I remember every second house, the next door neighbors or the people around would be from Sweden or would be from Norway or would be from somewhere else. They were like, we just made a bunch of money in Europe and our choices. Do we want to stay in a cold country where the night doesn't even know it's supposed to stay nighttime? Or do we want to come to the most beautiful white sand beaches and enjoy gorgeous weather, even in June, the whole year round?
So essentially, how you fix inequalities by bringing Swedes to live in Mpangeni?
Listen, Swedes, if you're still in Mpangeni, you holler. No. Honestly, if we have to fix it, we have to make sure we get systems that are working. And systems that are working means we can't have situations where our country gets, 500 billion and then loses 500 billion. I'm not great at mathematics. I mean, I was only mathematics champion at 22 out of the 16 schools I went to. And as mathematics champion, I can honestly tell you that there's like 55 million of us. They lost 50 billion bucks. They could have given each of us R1 million and said, figure it out, buddy. We don't know, no vaccine, no idea. Here's $1 million, figure it out. And can I be honest with you guys? I might not have survived COVID, but hey, $1 million could have changed for the better.
I think government, right, has too much power over singular entities and our own decision making. However,
no, government doesn't have power. The thing is, the people have forgotten the most important. Government isn't something else, a separate entity. Government is us. Government is the people we've put into those elected seats. And if they do not bow to the power of the people, then they need to stop being government. We have a francophone revolution happening in Africa now, where the people have literally stood up and said, we've had enough of governments that do not serve our needs.
But when will South Africa see that? Because, I mean, you still have people, how many years later, supporting the party that put us in shit?
Well, I mean,
one of the
reign
few.
of President Emperor Julius Malema. No, listen, I love Juju, and I think a lot of people speak a lot of sense, because a lot of people, not just Juju, Herman Mashaba, a lot of people like Amusi Maimani. There's a lot of people with good ideas out there, and I'm not going to say that one party is correct and one party isn't, because a lot of people do have a lot of good ideas. But my main focus is the same thing I try to focus on in terms of business. It's results. I want to make sure that I'm driving on, like, have you been to the airport recently? I don't know if you know that gorgeous
Joburg
road,
International.
Joburg International, the R21. That road, there's
Oh,
some
Tambo,
section,
sorry.
Tambo.
I lost track
Did you
years
see-
ago.
Thank you. So that road is horrible now, bro. There's chips, there's stones, even in the fast lane. I remember I actually had a blowout because of that road. And I think, is that the picture that a world-class Africa city is supposed to be showing to the world? You want all of your things to work. I want my roads to be beautiful and smooth. I want my traffic lights to work. I want my electricity to stay on so that we can build our industry. Like, what if there was a kid who was crypto mining and was just about to get the biggest crypto mining breakthrough ever, where he could use a phone to crypto mine, but he didn't have a chance to have that breakthrough because he just didn't have power?
No, dude, it's getting to a stage where, honestly, governments should be held accountable in a criminal court for this shit.
Well,
But
like, how many can you look at? You look at the electricity, you look at the water, you look at the sanitation, you look at Life as City Many, you could...
SAA.
Oh, gosh. Please don't joke. I love SAA. You know, SAA was the only airline that used to let you fly with your bicycle or your surfboard for free.
I've never flown with a bicycle or a surfboard.
I fly with both. I have no use for either of them. But what a great experience. Rocking up at the airport with your backpack, a bicycle, and a surfboard. And they're like, yeah, no.
So I want to draw this to a close almost and say, you know what, the balance between comedy and seriousness in your life seems to be a very interesting tightrope. Because on the one hand, in your comedy, you will occasionally reference something super serious, but you know, you're a comedian, you get people to laugh. But if anyone spends enough time or whiskey on you, they will find that you've got a serious side that's, you know your politics, you know your history, you're invested in people, you're invested in community. How do you balance that in your mind? Because a lot of people think a comedian is always funny.
Hey, bro. Ew, bro. I guess it's that line between being a joker and a jester. Anybody can be a joker, dude. Like, anybody at any moment could be a joker. But a jester, you have to put yourself out there. Remember, a jester is going to get their throat cut if the king doesn't get the joke. And the truth is, if I have to be, like, candid about it, a lot of the stuff that I've joked about has been that subject matter about the inequality of society, the difficultness of relationships, the perspectives or the nuances that you wouldn't necessarily see, but at the same time, they need to be discussed. And I always think, if somebody could walk away from my show and has a better understanding or has a better grasp on something that they weren't able to, or even I took them to a place of awkwardness, and then we got some understanding from that experience, because we don't grow inside our comfort zones. We only grow outside of them. And that's the one thing that I tried to do. I try to balance that. We have to laugh, but we also have to do it outside of things that we're happy to normally laugh about. And that's the tightrope.
Dude, I can speak to you about comedy for ages, but I feel like, you know, that's a discussion for another time.
Oh, most definitely. Or when you buy tickets to my next one-man show at Ngcobo. Don't forget www.double-g.co.com. Sorry, double/gee.com or ngcobo.com.
Or click the link in the description of the podcast.
I forgot we live in the future. Hey, the future's nice, bro. Like, my favorite ones, bro. You take out your phone, you get into cars with strangers. And then on top of that, strangers bring you food. Like
And you're just okay with that?
And you're all right. Like you didn't touch the chips.
Bro, if I was a delivery guy, no one would get a full meal.
Chips a day. Every day. Have you seen the one with the slice of a pizza? Oh goodness, that thing breaks me. Oh, the way it breaks me.
Oh, dude, listen, I had so much fun chatting to you. Do you know that you are, on purpose, the very first comedian that I'm talking to?
Wait, no jokes. He told me it was going to be Hannes Brummer. And Hannes Brummer, I'd like you to eat your beautiful heart out, my friend. I love you with all my heart and all my soul, but I'd like you to know.
Don't bring Hannes.
No. I can't wait. Hannes, no, you know Hannes. And
In all fairness, you know that you were the first one that I asked, and you were like full of shit about, oh no, I'm being famous somewhere.
Listen to me, I'd like to get this out there. I work very, very hard to be as unfamous as I am right now. And one of these days soon, somebody's going to realize that they should give me a lot of money to do nothing and make us both happy.
Well, dude, listen, I've had so much fun with you. The next comedian that I've got, well, some of the next ones that I've chatted to, and this is part of the vibrant community of comedians that I love knowing in South Africa. I mean, Hannes is going to be on the podcast on the stage. Spoken to Warren Robertson.
I love Warren! Oh, God, listen.
When I'm down in Cape Town or he's up here, we're going to make a plan because he's like, don't you want to do it online? No, I want to do it live.
In person, it's not
so
COVID anymore. Please don't come back. No more lockdowns.
There's a couple of guys, like I really, on the comedy side, you want to talk to the guys because a lot of the times people just don't get to know the person behind the jokes. And I mean, dude, I wanted to ask you so many more questions about comedy and stuff for that you, because you're an interesting bloke. And I mean, it's a privilege to call you my friend.
It's because I swim and I ride my bicycle. I'm often on my bicycle, people. So if you see a very, very fat guy going very slowly, wave. Buy him a tequila and get me back on the road.
But don't make the tequila this year.
Yeah.
When's the sobriety ending?
No. I was on an abstinence binge. I'm on, the LGBTQIA plus community, right?
The Alphabet Gang.
Yes, those guys, those beautiful people who I love every last one of them, except the ones that go to Epstein Island. Those guys, A is my favorite letter out of them, abstinence, because abstinence means you're going without sex any whatsoever. And the thing about abstinence is, oh my goodness, there's nothing like being without, because being without makes you appreciate being within.
And on that lovely note, ladies and gentlemen, Nqoba the King, thanks so much. See you at the next Park Acoustics.
Sorry, see you at the next Park Acoustics, see you at the next comedy show at Railways, where we go once a month, every single month. Also see you at Magu Nursery, where you can come through, have a great time, and some great green if you're into that scene. And what else? Oh, and my one-man show.
Before I let you go, dude, I almost forgot. In our podcast with Stephen Ngcobo, right? We came upon a point of cultural appropriation and a couple of other questions that I said to him that I want to put together a small little panel discussion sometime that will involve him and then hopefully you, if today you say yes, to want to be part of a discussion on that.
The cultural appropriation, only if it's a game show, bro. Like I wouldn't do, like I would definitely love to do a game show with myself, Stephen Ngcobo, Vim and Sipe. Just the four of us, right? And we call it, is this cultural appropriation?
And if you want to sponsor a show like that, please get in touch with Baascast. I'm baasdebeer@gmail.com.
You want to watch it? You want to watch it so badly. Now,
I want to host it so badly.
Exactly. Welcome. Dude.
Oh, man.
Ideas. This is what we do.
I'm just going to end this thing now. Listen, subscribe to things. Dude, it's been a great one.
Thank you for having me.
I don't get you half of the things that I think we should have gotten to, but I got to at least double of the things I never thought you'd say.
You got to double of the things I thought I'd never say.
Thank you for listening to this Baascast, and thank you so much, Audio Torch, for sponsoring the camera gear.